Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to askNK. Today we're taking a look at Cycles X. So you all know about the Blender Cycles X, and right now the project has been updated with a couple of very nice improvements. So within the last time we saw Cycles X all through the announcement to when everyone was testing it and the whole announcement that this was going to be coming out with the Blender 3.0. It was a whole new feeling to how you get to render in Blender. And right now, the folks at Blender Foundation are announcing that there's an update to this. If you would be working with Cycles X, you would definitely have a huge performance improvement from what you had with the default cycles that exist with Blender 2.93 and what simply exists right now. So going all the way to this page, which I'm going to put a link in the description, you can see what the chart looks like. So for example, the barbershop, you can see how many minutes or how many seconds it takes to render compared to what you have with Blender 3.0. The whole new improvement to Cycles X is just crazy. Now, there is a couple of tests that you can also take a look at. It's quite notable that this is dependent on the GPU that you have. So the test that we have here is running on an NVIDIA Quadro RTX A6000 with optics. So if you're using a lower end graphic card, the results might vary as well. Now, at the time of the initial announcement, there was actually no volume rendering support. And since then, they've restored the volume rendering and found that the GPU rendering performance has actually improved 3 to 5 times better than what existed with the previous versions. Now, for those who would also want to compare and contrast things like hair and shadow improvement, there's a huge update to that as well, as currently there is a significant update with this. You can take a look at the Coro render, and this is nice. You can see with 500 samples with 2.93, we're getting this at 116 seconds compared to 52 seconds, which is crazy. So if you're thinking about rendering hair, or maybe you're thinking about rendering volumes right now, it makes so much sense to see that Cycles X is getting a huge improvement. And there's also another beautiful chart down here that you can see as well. And you can tell with the whole baked transparent hair how long it takes with previous versions, and at the same time you can see what the new shadow looks like, the isect state, and also the reference. And this is in comparison with Cycles at its peak memory and also the time that it uses to render these things. So if you would like to see the shadow optimization, this chart is right here. You can come through and check it out. And at the same time, there is also updates to the distance scrambling, also known as micro jittering. So we've already seen some improvements with this, and right now the Sobol and progressive multi-jitter can now use distance scrambling to improve GPU rendering performances by increasing the correlation between pixels. There is an automatic scrambling option to automatically choose a scrambling value distance once you're rendering. So for those who also like to take a look at this comparison, there is a plain PMJ, a PMJ with scrambling distance of 0, the plain Sobol, and also the Sobol with scrambling distance of 0. You can see the comparison in terms of how long it takes for the render to happen. And this is just this is beautiful. You would like to see the Sobol CPU, the Sobol CUDA, and also the optics performance. You might want to also take a look at this. And for those who like to download the brand new version of Blender, you can also go ahead and do that. There's also a beautiful update to ambient occlusion, as ambient occlusion did not take into account the transparency in the initial version of Cycles X. But right now that has been restored and it is taking advantage of the shadow kernel improvements. So this also helps with hair. So if you like to look at this, maybe you want to see the add, the replace, and also the full path trace ambient occlusion. This is right here. There is also this beautiful updates to the denoising improvements. So if you're thinking about working with the denoisers, these denoisers are looking pretty nice. They have improved the denoising for volumes, and previously these were mostly excluded from the albedo and also normal passes. Right now all of these things have been actually implemented, and this can significantly help the denoiser to denoise volume details while keeping the image quality nice. AMD HIP is also something that is currently available, so we haven't actually talked about this, but there is a huge update for AMD users. Now, we've already talked about the idea that most people using NVIDIA would be taking advantage of the Cycles X, but the folks at AMD and also Apple are looking at making things work. Actually, AMD is taking the first foot to make things work, as they've been working alongside with the folks at Blender Foundation to bring the AMD GPU support. So if you would like to read more about this one, I'm also going to put this link in the description where you can see the next level support for AMD GPUs. And this is pretty dope. If you actually go ahead and download Blender 3.0 right now, you will be able to see the CUDA and also the HIP. So in case you have an AMD card, you can now take advantage of the whole Cycles X improvement and all that stuff and get some quality renders while using your AMD Radeon card. So if you like to take a look at the comparison, you can also see that there's a pretty cool comparison with OpenCL and also the heap right here. Very, very nice. And the folks at Apple are looking at how they can contribute the metal backend for Cycles. And this is currently planned for Blender 3.0. So some time ago, we talked about the whole idea that Apple joined the Blender Foundation and they've started work on implementing the metal backend for Cycle users. And this is pretty dope. So for those who like to read more about this, maybe you want to catch up with this, you might want to come over and take a look at the brand new update to Cycles X. And for sure, you might also want to come through and take a look at all of this beautiful stuff that we have right here, read more about the next level support for AMD GPUs. And at the same time, you might also want to read more about the Cycles X project. And for those who would like to also take a look at AMD's brand new release, you can also go over to the AMD website where you can see their Pro Render update that is now available for Blender and also Maya users. So this is more like it. For those who like to look at this, links to this is going to be in the description. So do well to check it out. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section. And of course, if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give a like and don't forget to share with a friend. And until I see you guys in the next one, peace.